Hey everybody, it's been a while. It's been a long time. We haven't done a video in a long time. I've been busy. I'm still working. Um, we have our school, which is, of course, our passion. It's our reason. Um, and I still work. I'm still working as an artist, so it gets kind of busy. But also, the most important thing was I didn't know what next to do. I have a lot of videos out there. I think over 600 maybe. Um, what next? And so I spent a lot of time just observing and watching. And the one we just did was it's going to be my favorite, which is going to be the Getty. And we're really going to spend a lot of time in the Getty from here, um, because it's my passion, it's my place, it's my happy place. I think the most important one is going to be this. When you see this book, buckle your seatbelt. It's got to be done. It's got to. I think if my original teachers, they were so tough. Jack Ozark, so tough. Um, Eddie Rayberg, he was brutal. He was just brutal. Jack Ozark, I was supposed to meet him for, go to his house for lunch, and I forgot. I was a young kid. I was like 16, and I'd had lunch with a friend. I was stuffed, and I got in the car, I was screeching down the street. Lived in the valley. Reseda wasn't, everybody was close by. And I knock on the door and he opens the door, and the look on his face was just brutal. I said, Jack, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I'm so sorry. He said, get in here. I said, Jack, I'm sorry. I'll never do this again. He goes, sit down. I go, Jack, I just had a huge lunch. I'm stuffed. He had food on the table. He had planned this lunch for me. He made me eat a huge entire meal. And you know how you're already so full, but you can't take another bite? He made me eat until I was sick. I never, ever missed an appointment after that. If I have a 10 a.m. appointment, I leave the house at 7 a.m. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack Ozark. Thank you, Eddie Rayberg, who beat the crap out of me when I was 13. This is the book. This is the craziest thing that happened. You guys aren't going to believe it. I was on a vacation and I was in this European kind of place, and basically I have LA and New York, and everything in the middle is Kansas. So it was kind of Kansas, but not here. And I walked into this bookstore. And I'll tell you a true story. This one I'm about to tell you is not true. I was in Germany. We're on vacation, went on a cruise. And this is a true story. Most of mine are not. And we went into this art supply store, little art supply store, and I'm just so excited. I'm just always just really excited, and I'm like, man, it's so great to be here, and this is incredible. I want to buy this sketchbook. And they go, well, who are you? I said, well, I own an art school in Los Angeles, and I'm just kind of an old industry guy and just sharing the information and trying to pass it on and pay it forward, and paying it back and paying it forward. And I'm talking to the owner of these art supply store, and I hear a voice behind me, and it's some guy, and he says, "Excuse me, sir, but are you a tutor?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "Are you a tutor? Do you teach?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm studying your classes right now." Really? He was studying New Masters. And New Masters is great. I mean, you got, the greatest teachers there, and I'm just, honored to have my section of it. And just laughed. So I turned to the people there, and I said, yeah, that's what I do. Um, so it's not uncommon to go to another country to go into a store, but now this one's completely full of shit. Okay, there's no reality to this except what I'm going to do with it. So I go into this bookstore, and this old guy looked like Geppetto from, um, from that documentary Pinocchio, with the great philosopher Jiminy Cricket. And I walk in, and I go, "Wow, this is a really cool store. Like, dude, do you have sketchbooks here?" And the guy says, "Hello, Sheldon. We've been waiting for you." And I said, "You know me?" "Oh, yeah, we've been waiting for you. Follow me." And I'm following this old guy. He's got a cane, glasses down. We're going down this staircase to another staircase. We're going so far down to a basement that even the rats aren't going to be there. Dim light. And I said, "What are we doing here?" He said, "Sheldon, this book has been waiting for you." I go, "What is it?" He goes, "It is a sketchbook, but it is the sketchbook of truth. We know your background. We know you studied with Rayberg. We know that you spent many, 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 many hours with people like Jack Ozark, great animators. We know you studied with the great draftsmen. We know we were given the truth. And we know that it's not being said." "No, it is." I said, "But it is." "Oh, Sheldon, maybe this much, but this much." "Open the book." So he handed me the key, and I put the key in the lock, and I opened the lock. The journey. It was this old book. I already started drawing and painting in it a little bit. And he said, "Sheldon, what do you feel?" And I said, "I feel a little dizzy." He goes, "Oh, yeah. That is all of the old talks, the old times that you had with all these people that are no longer around. As will you be one day. It's your job to tell the truth." And that's what we're going to do. So when we open this book, I'm going to be in the mode I am right now. And I'm going to teach. But we're going to tell the truth. What is it? God, that's in my head. What is it? The latest thing that's out there. Got to come to me. But there's stuff going on that's just... Eddie Rayberg they would just look at you like, "Okay, I'll agree. This is your journey. Um, yeah, of course it's a journey. Of course it's a journey." The term master drawing in 7 lessons. I could hear Eddie in my head right now. He would just go, "Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Yeah, learn drawing in 7 steps. It's not possible." So when we go through this, when we open this book, it will journey us into other books. These are just a few that I'm drawing in right now. And oh no, there'll be some drawings in here that are good and some that are bad. And we're going to learn head drawing, figure drawing, perspective, landscape composition, value, and color. Now, the kids at our school, they learn this stuff, right there in person. But some people can't. Although at our school, you can zoom in. We had There's a guy, Vabob, he's teaching now, and he used to zoom in from India. So be in the middle of the night. He's great, great guy. And like this drawing, I think is okay. Um, this drawing's a piece of shit. It's a piece of garbage. So, but this drawing I like. And that's where it's at. When you're born an artist, you're born with hundreds of thousands of bad drawings in you. You got to get rid of them. So it's really important that you sit down and draw. So here's probably the current sketchbook. This one right here is also current sketchbook. This drawing's here. This is garbage. Yeah, it's okay. I like this one. A little Michelangelo there. And but we'll do head drawing. Piece of shit. No, piece of shit. That's okay. That's all right. And we're going to get down to business. So when you see that sketchbook, be ready. Okay. So here we go. Bad. Bad. Really bad. Yeah. You've got to do the bad drawings. You've got to get rid of them. Without it, you're not going to make it. That was fun. Here we go. I like that one. This one works. Flows, got the cross contours. So we're going to get down to some serious business. So when you see these videos, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Like this one works. Okay. But it's going to be kind of brutal. But again, it's not me. It's going back. This was at the Getty, and I sat there and just drew this from the master drawings. Like this one, it's a horrible drawing. This is terrible. Like this one, it's got energy, flows. It's all right. But you go back. These hands are terrible. This is fun. I like drawing from Michelangelo. You can see the cross contours. It's all going to be taught from this book. But the book will be a portal into other books. Why are we doing this? You just have to know who these original artists were. And, here we go. And, here's the Getty. You just have to kind of know the background, you guys. We'll do perspective. We're going to draw drapery. But we're going to open that book. I follow the teachings of Hokusai because they're the teachings of Vilpu. At the age of, a little kid, I saw shapes. I saw rhythms, and I had to draw them. You don't have a choice. There's no, you don't have a choice. You have to draw. You see things, it's just part of your soul. So there he was, Hokusai, the young guy. But then, when he got a lot older, he had done so much commercial work, so much, but he still was just kind of understanding what drawing was all about. And then I read about the age of 7, like, this is just crap. But I grew from this painting, from these are studies, these are scribbles. But you grow from them. Here's the Getty. So now he's like, he's by the age of 70, he's done so much. And he's just starting to see the rhythms of nature and how things flow. And then he promises as an old man, at 100 or something, that, he would master drawing. And I think that's the thing. If you want to say you've mastered drawing, show me that you're 120. show me that you're 150. Because I'm 65 and I'm still getting it. I draw every minute of every day. So if you walk into my school and you say, I know how to draw, Sheldon, I just need to learn to paint. No, no, no. Okay. So here's another sketchbook. It's just sitting on my floor. There's about 60 sketchbooks on the floor and that are being drawn in. And then there's about another 100 sitting on the shelf. And I just collect sketchbooks. You know, there's the Starbucks, which was from the Renaissance. You know, we go back. You know, here, just, you know, putting the energy. Okay, so it's just lots and lots of drawings. Okay. This book my wife bought me for holidays, and it's been pretty cool. I mean, this is a good sketchbook. I've got, you know, the Amalfi paper and stuff. So I like this painting. It was the first one. That was pretty cool. And then it kind of went downhill from there. Just playing with different watercolor kits. And that's a piece of crap. I had a student in the class once, and he said, you know, I had a painting up on the wall. He goes, if I tore up that painting, what would you do? I said, oh, I'd hit you. He goes, why? I said, I like the painting. And he goes, but you tear up our paintings. I said, yeah, your painting's a piece of shit. Welcome to the old school. My teacher, when I was like 14, 15, Rayberg, he actually wrote on the drawing that I did, this is shit. And he wrote shit right across the drawing. It was great. And so you know, I don't have a problem dealing with you know, professional world. Look, I'm playing with some, you know, pure color there. We'll get into broken color. We're just going to demo. The answers are in our videos. And they're not so much answers, or they are the real school. When we do the videos, it's art school going back in time. And so we'll go down the list again. Rayberg was from New York, so it's Max Fleischer, also Art Students League and Chouinards. So we are Chouinards trained here. Now on the West Coast, we're Disney trained, you know, because I worked, you know, under a lot of Disney artists, you know, the old ones, the real old-fashioned ones, and also the new masters. And they were masters, okay? They were amazing. So that would be that old art center, which would be like Glenville Pooh, which would be Fidelson, Carmian, Philpoo. Then it goes directly to us, and then it, you know, right to our students. Brian Eastman, who was my painting teacher, who was incredible. His old art center, original 3rd Street Art Center. So we have that. You'll be getting that training. This work gets fun. Fixler, Riley. I loved Fred. He was great. He thought he was tough, but he was nothing compared to my original teachers. So he thought he was being a real tough guy, but he wasn't. And but I love studying with Fred. Studied with him for about 6 years. So all the kids at our school are Riley trained, young kids, and you know, they started around 7 learning Riley, 8. But we're combining would be like Vilpoo and Fred together, which is kind of weird, but it's working. We got that. Design-wise, I've worked with great designers. Worked in advertising. So we got the design. Some of the best Gil DeSico. I mean, best artists. I just in awe, and just studied. So every studio I ever worked at, I studied with everybody in there, and I would just walk up and say, can I show you my drawings? And I would wait, and then I would go to their, you know, their cubicle or their office, and I would have them review my drawings. Did that on a regular basis, so that was almost daily. And I would choose the different artists in the studio, and I would walk up to them and I say, you know, you don't know me, but you know, I know you, and I would love it if you would go over my drawings, and please be tough. And they were, and I studied and learned, and I still do. And I'm 65. So this drawing was the other day, this little painting, and I like it. So all of that to get to this. So when we open this book, you'll see my demeanor change because I'm going to become possessed. And it's not my fault. It's from the book. and we'll draw on it, and we'll have fun. But we're gonna get down to business, and we're gonna learn the fundamentals. Okay, um, not gonna learn it in a day. Okay. Um, Now the fun part is that you can start working, which is a small part of this. So, you know, 20%, and you can be working, but you haven't mastered drawing. And in that sort of, and that term, I had it. Was it denial, or where you don't, I'm not worthy, what is the term? And it's new out there, where it's like, I've made it, but I'm not worthy. Rayberg would look at you and go, "Are you stupid?" Um, Rayberg used to tell me, "Don't tell people you studied with me." He would say, "Let them think you're smart." Which I don't know if that worked. Okay, so that's going to be this part of our curriculum. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be doing a lot of demoing. I'm just going to draw, and when I do it, I'm gonna hit those little peaks. I'm gonna say, "That's it, right there. That's it." And that means when I say that, do it, you know, 20, 30 times just to understand what it is, and then, do it a couple hundred times to start to see some improvement. Okay, I'm doing it. The people that I know who are good are doing it, and they just may not be telling you. And one of the things for me is I've always been very honest with my students, because I'm not they're not my students. I'm passing down the information that was so luckily was given to me, because I couldn't afford college. I couldn't afford to go to school, so they were giving it to me, and I was a good student, and I gave them credit. There was a producer at the studio one day, and she said, "You need to have a T-shirt that has names on it." And I go, "Why?" She goes, "You're always giving people credit." I said, "Because that's who I am. That's how I got to where I'm at. And I'm only this far. It's starting to make sense, and it's been 46 years. But I've been working for 46 years, okay? So that's going to be this part of our new curriculum. I've lost a lot of sleep thinking about this. And I thought, someone's got to do it. So we'll end with this. If it seems too good to be true, it is. If you could learn to paint like Van Gogh in one day, it, or Sargent, if you could learn to draw like Sargent or paint like Sargent in one day, it doesn't make you any good. It makes Sargent really bad, because he spent his whole life working on that. Just think about that these people sweated and failed and tried, and for their entire life, and for you to think that you can sit down and just learn it in one day just makes you so arrogant. And I can't work with that, because I'm going to fail and fail often. If you think, well, I'm just, you can't work. So that's going to be this book right here. Okay. So if it seems too good to be true, it's too good to be true. But let's have fun learning it. And if you're one of those kids that has the passion but can't afford art school, we're here, and you could learn it from our school. So in conclusion, and I keep saying that again, our school is available. We're a real brick and mortar. It's an actual place. We've been there over 20 years. We've trained many generations of artists who are working. We've trained students who have gone into medical school, gone into law school. They don't all go into art, because it's visual critical thinking. And we just put a list online of the different schools that these kids have gotten into. And if you're not local, then we have a lot of people Zoom. We had a Vabob who is doing so well out there. He used to Zoom in from India every week. And I was tough on him. I was tough. And he's doing great. I love what he's doing. So Vabob, good job. I'm so proud that you're from our school. And you're also from New Masters. But it was so great to have you on one-on-one. We have a student right now. She's zooming in. She was on last night from Canada. We've had people move to be by our school, famous illustrators and designers, because they didn't get the fundamentals. So they would kind of put their career on hold and come in. So we've had, a lot of people there, but, kids will start there at like 8 years old, 9 years old, getting the real training. And by the time they're 13, 14, they're teaching. So they're really good. Okay, so that will be this part. Just know if it gets a little tough, that's the voice in my head from a previous teacher. I'm kind of a huggy daddy kind of a guy. Okay, so that's going to be this section of these new courses. I'm excited about it. It's going to be wild. Okay, see you in a while.